SAS Interview question and answer question number 58. How does multiple ampersand macro variable resolve? Where do you use it? This question is asking about if you have more than one ampersand, how does it resolve macro variable? And where do you use it? Single ampersand is used to invoke, that means to resolve the value of macro variable. Sometimes multiple ampersand come in application, which is used to allow the value of a macro variable to become another macro variable reference. That means if value of a macro variable is used as another macro variable name, then in such condition we use multiple ampersand. The macro variable reference will be rescanned until the macro variable is resolved. Following rules are applicable to resolve multiple ampersand. Rule number 1. The macro processor reads a macro variable from left to right. That means it resolves left ampersand first, then resolves a right ampersand. Here is an example. We have a sample code here. We use option symbolian that will print a resolved macro information in our log window. We have three macro variable: %let book, book is its value is story. Next one is %let story and its value is funny. And third one is %let funny story, its value is fiction. In above example, the value of one variable value is another macro variable reference. In the example here, story is value of book, but this story is macro variable in the second condition, where its value is funny. Let me explain first rule. That means it reads from left to right. Suppose we are going to print this value here. Value is %book %story. That means it will resolve first %book resolves to story, and %story that resolves to funny. And finally we get here like this: book resolves to story and story resolves to funny, and finally that value becomes story funny. Rule number 2, for multiple ampersand, 2 ampersand resolves to 1, and during the macro resolution process. That means it resolves, if we have 2 ampersand, then it resolves 1 first. After then, it resolves a macro variable value. Here is an example. We are going to print this value 1, %put value 1. Its value is 3 ampersand here, story %book. In this condition, what happens first? First, this 2 ampersand resolves to 1 ampersand. Next, ampersand story that resolves to funny. At the same time, ampersand book resolves to story. That's the result we get here: 1 ampersand funny story. And next step, it will resolve ampersand funny story to fiction, because here funny story, its value is fiction. Rule number 3. While working for multiple ampersand, the rescan rule applies until no more ampersands are left to resolve. That means this process will continue until no more ampersand are left to resolve. Here is an example. Suppose we are going to print value 4, and its value is here 6 ampersand story to ampersand book. What will be the result? First of all, 6 ampersand that resolves to 3 ampersand. 1, 2, 3. Because this is even number, that's why it will remain here a story. And 2 ampersand that resolves to 1 ampersand and becomes your book. This is the first step. Then next step, 2 ampersand resolves to 1 ampersand. Ampersand story resolves to funny. At the same time, ampersand book resolves to story. It became here funny story. And next iteration, third iteration, ampersand funny story that finally resolves to fiction. In this way, multiple ampersand works. In the log window, we observe here 1, 2, 3. That means first 3 that comes from 6 ampersand that resolves to 3 ampersand. 1, 2, 3. And fourth one that comes from second, 2 ampersand equals to 1. And fifth one that comes from the second step. This 2 ampersand resolves to 1 ampersand. That's why we obtain here fifth one. And story resolves to funny, book resolves to story, and finally funny story that resolves to fiction. If we run same set of the code with SAS window, then we will obtain same result. Let me run this code with the SAS window. We have same code here, options symbolium that will print in our log window all resolve macro variable value. We have 3 macro variable, %let book, its value is story, %let story, its value is funny, %let funny story, its value is fiction. Let me run first one. That means that we are going to print this value where we are using ampersand book, ampersand story. And what will happen? This is the result. That means, first of all, macro variable book resolves to story. That means first it will resolve left. After then, story resolves to funny and it moves to right. And finally, we obtain story funny. This is the final result. Let me go back to the code and comment this line first. I'm going to uncomment second one. It will apply our second rule. What will happen? Let me see here. Okay, this 2 ampersand resolves to 1 ampersand according to second rule. After then, we have 1 ampersand story, that story resolves to funny, and ampersand book resolves to story. And we have, it becomes here ampersand funny story, and it will resolve into fiction. That's the result. Let me go back to the code, comment this line, and uncomment third one. Multiple ampersand. Let me run this code. Okay. We have here first 3 resolution 1, 2, 3 that comes from 6 ampersand changes to 3 ampersand because it works every pair, it converts or resolves into 1 ampersand. That's why 2, 4, 6 that converts into 3 first of first step. Then next one is 2 ampersand converts into 1 ampersand. It's the fourth line, fourth one it gives here. And after then we have 3 here. Then first 2 ampersand resolves to 1 ampersand that will obtain from fifth one. After then we have ampersand story that resolves to funny. We have ampersand book that resolves to story. And finally we have 1 ampersand funny story that resolves to fiction. This is the value. Finally, we obtain fixed. In this way, multiple ampersand works are resolved in case of macro variable. That's all about question number 58. Thank you.